Imagine this. You are looking at your progress chart. You have lost the weight which you wanted to lose. Your work performance is better than ever. People are complimenting you. You are stronger, smarter, more confident than you were a year ago. Every piece of evidence says you're moving forward. But then, a voice inside your head quietly says, "Don't get excited. You're actually getting worse. You're fooling everyone. Soon they'll realize you're not good enough." Here is the strange part. That voice sounds exactly like you. It knows your memories. It knows your fears. It knows exactly what to say to hurt you. And because it sounds like your own thoughts, you believe it. But what if that voice isn't telling the truth? What if your own brain is editing reality before you ever get a chance to see it? Today, we are exploring one of the strangest discoveries in psychology, the idea of the critical inner voice, sometimes called the anti-self, the part of your mind that can convince you that failure is success, success is luck, and your greatest strengths don't even exist. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why your brain does this. And more importantly, how to stop believing every thought it produces. So, let's begin the journey together. Most of us think our biggest enemies are outside of us. A difficult boss, a toxic relationship, bad luck. But for millions of people, the harshest enemy lives inside their own mind. Psychologist Robert Firestone spent decades studying this phenomenon. He noticed that many people carried around an invisible narrator, not one that encouraged them, but one that constantly criticized them. "You'll never succeed. You're embarrassing. No one really likes you. Don't even try." He called this pattern the critical inner voice. Not because it's a separate personality, and not because there is literally another person inside your head, but because it behaves almost like one. It has its own opinions, its own language, its own predictable script, and its goal always seems to be the same: keep you small, keep you afraid, keep you exactly where you are. The strange thing is, most people never question it, because the voice doesn't sound like someone else, it sounds like you, which makes every lie feel like a fact. Or maybe someone compliments you. Instead of accepting it, your mind instantly replies, "They're just being polite. They don't really mean it." If they knew the real you, they'd change their mind. Notice what just happened. Reality didn't change. Your interpretation did. This is something psychologists have studied for decades. Depression and chronic anxiety don't simply make people feel bad. They change the way people interpret information. Positive events become accidents. Success becomes luck. Mistakes become proof of failure. It's like wearing glasses that only allow negative evidence to pass through. Everything else gets filtered out. The scary part? It feels completely logical while it's happening. That's why people often say, "I'm just being realistic." But they are not seeing reality. They are seeing reality through a biased filter. So, why would the brain do something so unfair? The answer is not that your brain hates you. It is that your brain was built for survival, not happiness. For thousands of years, assuming the worst often kept our ancestors alive. If they ignored danger, they died. If they expected danger, they survived. That ancient survival system still exists today. Except now, instead of worrying about predators, it worries about embarrassment, failure, rejection, and uncertainty. Your brain would rather make you anxious than make you vulnerable. Researchers have also discovered something fascinating. Your brain constantly labels experiences as either coming from you or from the outside world. When you speak out loud, your brain actually sends itself an advance warning, almost like saying, "Relax. this sound is coming from us. Because of that signal, your brain reduces its response to your own voice. This is one reason why you cannot tickle yourself. Your brain already knows what is coming. Scientists call this process an efference copy. It is one of the systems that helps your brain distinguish between I created this and this happened to me. In certain psychiatric conditions, especially schizophrenia, researchers have found that this tagging system can become disrupted. Some internally generated experiences may no longer feel completely self-generated. That's one reason auditory hallucinations can feel so real. Now here's something important. This does not mean that the critical inner voice in depression is the same thing as hallucinations. They are different experiences. But both remind us of something fascinating. Your brain is not just recording reality. It is constantly interpreting it. And sometimes, those interpretations are wrong. Now, imagine that you are believing that critical voice every single day. You begin replaying every conversations, analyzing every mistake, wondering what you should have said, thinking about what everyone must secretly think about you. Hours pass. Nothing gets solved. This is called rumination. This is very different from healthy reflection. Reflection asks, what can I learn? Rumination asks, why am I like this? Reflection ends with an answer. Rumination never ends. It keeps feeding itself. Like a microphone placed next to a speaker, each loop becomes louder than the last. Eventually, the voice no longer needs evidence. It simply repeats itself until it feels true. That is the danger. Repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity often feels like truth. Here's the good news. You don't have to win every argument with your inner critic. You simply have to stop treating it like a reliable narrator. One technique developed by Robert Firestone is surprisingly simple. Instead of saying, I am worthless, change the sentence. Say, you are worthless. Sounds strange, right? But something remarkable happens. Suddenly, the thought does not feel like your identity anymore. It feels like something being said to you. You create distance. And that distance gives you a choice. Now you can answer back. Not with fake positivity. Not with empty affirmations. But with facts. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, say, I made a mistake, but I have succeeded before. Instead of, nobody likes me, say, I have people who care about me, even if I don't feel it right now. Instead of, I'll never change, say, I have changed before, I can change again. Notice the difference. You are not lying to yourself. You are correcting a distorted story. And over time, every challenge to that critical voice weakens its influence. Not overnight, but gradually, like a path through a forest that disappears when no one walks it anymore. For a long time, people thought depression was simply sadness. But today, we know it is much more complex. It can change attention, memory, interpretation, even the way we judge ourselves. Your brain is an incredible prediction machine. But prediction is not the same as truth. Sometimes, your mind confuses old fears with present reality. Sometimes it mistakes self-criticism for honesty. Sometimes it tells stories that simply are not true. And that's the most important lesson of all. Not every thought deserves your trust. Some thoughts are memories. Some are fears. Some are habits. And some are just echoes of voices you have heard for years. Learning to recognize those thoughts, instead of automatically believing in them, might be one of the most powerful skills you ever develop. Because the loudest voice in your head is not always the wisest one. So the next time your mind whispers, you're not good enough, pause for a second and ask yourself one simple question. Is this reality, or is this just the critical inner voice speaking? That single question might change the rest of your life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And if there's someone you know who needs to hear this message, share it with them. Sometimes, the most important battle we fight isn't against the world, it's against the voice inside our own minds.